Hi everyone, welcome to November's Quantum Power Deck subscription video. I hope that this month finds you doing well, sending you so much love and light. There's so much going on this month. Every month I say that, I know, but it just feels like there's so much energy and opening. You know, they say that we're going to be hitting the climax of this polarity in 2024. And I know I've talked about that before, but you can almost feel that building up of intensity in a way. And so this month, as we kind of are getting close to the end of 2023, yeah, we're really kind of feeling it. You can kind of see it with the all those earthquakes in the volcano happening in Iceland in the last couple weeks. And personally, I just feel it like there's this sense of just lots of energy that's both allowing us to expand and kind of tap into more of who we are and our gifts in the universe. And at the same time, you could be experiencing that energy with more of a density, depending on what you're moving through. And it could be you're tired a lot. I'm kind of getting that from spirit, that a lot of people are tired right now because of these shifts that are happening, and just needing to rest and recoup a little bit. And so because of that, you might be experiencing more of the denser side of this energy, or you might be feeling uplifted. It definitely depends on where you are in your journey. So no matter where you are, I hope this video finds you doing well. And like always, find somewhere comfortable to sit. Even if you're driving and listening to this, that's okay. Just as the transmission continues on, I begin to channel and the frequencies begin to get higher and higher. So even shutting your eyes. So if you haven't done so yet before meeting or hitting play, make sure, let's take a few deep breaths together here, in through the nose as long and slow as you can, and out through the mouth, just to kind of center us and kind of re-stabilize our nervous system. So let's do that together now. Welcome back. It's a little bit more grounded. So this month's painting was channeled earlier on to kind of tap into the creative I am energy that's out here. So a few themes for November is recovering. 2, it is tapping into this new energy. And assimilating with it, kind of integrating with it. And we'll talk about the upsides of that and the downsides of that. And then strengthening your communication with spirit in the form that takes for yourself. And this rebirth. There's this rebirth energy that's embedded in this month's energy. And I'll show you what that is as we continue to move on. So here is the painting from November, and as you see, it holds another dragon. And so before we move forward, I kind of want to talk to you about dragons and the energy and where they comes from. Some of the channeled information. Of course, this is not conclusive, or it's not comprehensive, because dragons are a mythical creature, and in that way, the only information we have about them is truly through myth and lore. And the myth and lore that we have through ancient times has been very destructive and a very negative view of what dragons are. So we have to kind of set aside some of the language around that to truly understand what is being brought through here. First off, the dragon energy is ancient. It actually is like the beginning. You know how like dinosaurs is a symbol of the beginning of life on our planet. Dragons is a symbol, or are a symbol, of life in the beginning of the universe. So it is very, very old energy. And with it, it typically comes from energies, or with it are the energies of the Pleiades and also the Arcturians. So they have been utilizing dragon energy for a very long time, and in some ways are just beginning to kind of bring it into our awareness, to seed it for the future. Because within this dragon energy, it is held within our DNA, and it embodies the magic and the wisdom and this alchemy of a very high consciousness. It is an energy and knowledge that, to give you an idea of what this energy does, it's helped create the crystalline grid, this dragon energy. And there's different kinds of energy, or dragon energies, and there's different, the different colors come to different people. But the channeled information that I've received is that it's helped create the crystalline grid, which is the foundation of all of our physical reality and also our spiritual systems of functioning here. It is the combination, integration of magic and physical reality in ways that we can't even comprehend. It's not a 3 or 4th dimensional experience. It is a 5th dimensional experience. And the way to tap into that is kind of explained in this painting, and it's been explained in several of my paintings that I didn't even realize I was just channeling. So in that way, the symbols or the teachings of those paintings with the dragons is essential to tapping into this energy. It is like Kundalini energy, because of the fire element with the dragon. It is life-giving and death. It's both life and death, right? So it can be extremely empowering, but it can also be destructive. So that energy really just needs to be incorporated with beings of a higher consciousness, not in a hierarchy way, just because it isn't meant to be used as a weapon. And not that I'm even really wanting to go into that space, but it is a way higher level consciousness. So I'm wanting you just to kind of expand into this information, because it's not here that you're really even going to find it. It's going to be more of your heart space and an integration of mind, body, spirit, all of the things that we talk about. This one in particular is speaking and holding the information and energy around red and blue. And I know Brenda and I have talked a lot about that, because a lot of the information, I've had a lot of visions and dreams with red and blue information. And because of that, we've really been exploring what this embodies. And it's not an intellectual journey, it is a spiritual experience. And dragons hold within them similar energies like crystals. You know how crystals can hold information, or rocks can hold information. And when I say information, it's like a database or a computer. So tons of data regarding very specific things. So in this specific painting this month, it is about this red and the blue. We channeled earlier this month that Mother Mary and Jesus, that's why they were always presented in the red and the blue colors. And it's something that we don't fully understand. And it does have something to do with life and death and feeling safe and speaking your truth, right? Like the chakras. But it's so much more than that, like divine masculine, divine feminine. Of course, it is those things, but it's all of those things all at once. So it's an embodiment of those things. But let's look at some of this symbolism here. First of all, it's a very creative kind of spatial energy, meaning you're out in space, similar to the image that I'm on the screen with you now, and that's partly why I chose it. Because in the vastness of space, in the darkness, in the emptiness, in the abyss, it's almost like this womb-like space where you're able to birth things, and so it's important to become comfortable with this stillness, with this cave-like space. And Brenda and I are going to be teaching this until we reincarnate into our next lives. It's so important to process through your emotional space and learn how to love your darkness. And that's part of the space, because there's magic here. It's kind of like without death, there would be no life. And understanding that we're experiencing that every moment of every day, life and death. It's literally happening instantaneously. So with that being said, getting comfortable in your darkness in a way, with your own negative feelings, and not being victimized by them because they are you, and not hating that part or cutting it out. It's about recognizing it, learning how to love it and integrate it, like by loving it and allowing it to exist. So there's no more fighting. So putting the fighting down and just allowing and choosing powerfully love or light, if that is something that you want to experience. But that all essentially is what, if you're choosing that over and over and over, that consistency is what creates that power of consistently choosing love over every moment, consistently, over and over and over. So getting comfortable in this womb-like dark space. And you can see there is a grid system in the background here, similarly to the painting that I created of New Earth. And this hexagon shape is like the bees, right? It is that beehive kind of consciousness, understanding that we're all interconnected. So you can't leave bee behind, kind of. You can't leave. There is no such thing. There is really no such thing. If you leave a bee behind, you leave yourself behind. And so in that way, it's about really just understanding our interconnectedness and our unity. And having compassion for others when they're experiencing darkness and not judging it. Just sending love, because we all have had those experiences. So just getting really comfortable in this space. And you can see this dragon is looking down on the line here, and this line is actual light language, and it looks like a Pokemon ball, but it's actually a teaching. It's the teaching of whole being wellness. It's the teaching of our spirit shield, which embodies 6 different things if you count the outer ring. And then we have beings that are coming out of a doorway within this light language, kind of communicating with this dragon. And then we have a star above it, a single star that's kind of shooting out 4 different things of light. Partly that's talking about the exponentiality of speaking about light and embodying that, and how it perpetuates that forward exponentially. So kind of allowing yourself to be in this creative space. This is a very creative energy. Dragons are very creative in general, but even this painting itself, it's about creativity. And that is our nature. So really allowing ourselves to be that powerful creative being. But in this darkness too, and that's why resting and recouping is important, because this painting is at nighttime and it is in that darkness, and when we shut our eyes and we have to regenerate. And there is this energy of rebirth in that space. But before we can even be born again, we have to Just like the phoenix, we have to burn, we have to kind of die. So in that way, there is that rest. We have to be still, right? There's no action. There's the stillness. So really allowing yourself to rejuvenate. And partly that's why there's a singular star, because it's the singularity of your existence and the unity all at the same time, but really focusing on the singularity for the moment, even if it's just a moment of just allowing yourself to recoup and regenerate. Because we are going through so much stuff that things that we don't even realize. And a lot of people travel when they sleep, like astral travel, and they go all over the universe. And so if you're tired even after you sleep, that's probably why. But if you're tired and things don't make sense, you don't have to understand. It's about allowing yourself to have whatever experience you're having. So allowing yourself to rest. And be in this cave or this womb-like space or within this darkness, and allowing yourself to have these experiences, whatever they may be. So in this space, some may face their darkness, while others might be inspired with visions and with ideas. And that's this rebirth energy. So it's allowing you to do both: heal by looking at the past, like the phoenix, burning away the things that no longer serve you, but also rebirthing and like seeding these ideas, like allowing these new things to kind of come to the forefront, right? And that's definitely here. So back to the dragon. So the dragon's made up of red and purple and blue, but typically the body itself is red. And I really want to kind of talk about that, because red is the root chakra, and that's a huge piece that's changing for us. The root chakra is, primal. It is the lowest vibrational wavelength of color. It's the slowest. It's the most dense in a way. Not that there's a hierarchy. There isn't. It's just a matter of how reality is created. And it's about shifting out of this victimization paradigm. It is about, instead of things happening to you or at you, you are the one doing the action. You are the one that's actually responsible for creating your reality. And that's a huge shift in perspective. And that's what's happening right now with our roots. So we oscillate, we kind of go back and forth between, hey, I don't like this is happening to me, and what do I do? And then recognizing our power and recognizing that we're the master creators. And we're going to keep oscillating back and forth until we move and we integrate into this fifth dimensional experience, or this higher consciousness human being. But as we do that, from a very human perspective, and it's something that I talk about a lot, and I know I've talked about it before, is really creating an environment for yourself of safety. And it could mean physical safety for you, but even psychologically or emotional safety, meaning putting yourself in an environment and even around people and having experiences that allow you to feel safe. And that doesn't mean we're all going to hide in our houses forever. I don't mean don't get uncomfortable, right? Especially if you have social anxiety and you're like, no, I never want to see people again. Sometimes becoming uncomfortable is important for your growth. So I don't really mean that. Only you can know what balance is for you, right? And what this means. But it's about really allowing yourself to expand into who you truly are, in the light that you are, and allowing yourself to have that having an environment where you're allowed to be all of who you are. And so that does mean having to make some hard choices, like who makes you feel safe and allows you to expand, and then who doesn't, who makes you feel smaller. But even if, right, they're making you feel this way, taking responsibility that you are having and creating an experience for yourself, while continuing choosing for environments and experiences to help you expand, right? Help you remember the light that you are. And kind of keep putting that out into the universe, because we can't do anything if we're not safe. If our basic needs aren't met, if we don't have shelter, if we don't have food or water, if we don't have love in our lives, like, we need to have our basic needs met. And that's part of this root chakra, and figuring out what that is, right? And so within this root chakra, this whole system is shifting, because in our root chakra is this warlike mentality. And we're all so used to having experiences with war that we think that it's normal. Like, this is what it is. Like, this dysfunction or this violence is normal. It's normal to have a hyper vigilant, like, nervous system due to stress. And that's not necessarily true. There are other ways of functioning, and that's what we're learning, right? And that's hopefully what we're becoming aware that that's not a sustainable environment, right? That's not a sustainable environment emotionally, physically, spiritually. So how do we create an environment inwardly and outwardly that promotes love? And you can see this root chakra being shaken up, obviously, with the wars that are going on in the Middle East. And even within ourselves, and even within our own political system, and everything's kind of shifting, because there is this tug of war, this oscillation between, hey, this is the way it's always been, and we're just used to this push-pull energy and domination and submissive energy, versus, hey, let's create something new. And that's part of this rebirth energy. Let's create something new. No, we've never seen it before on the planet, but let's create something new that allows everyone to feel safe without the violence, or even violent attacks, emotional attacks, or violent psychic attacks, even, allowing for an environment where we're all safe. And so these are energies that we're all feeling this month. We're all sharing collectively. And so, Spirit really does want to just honor that that's something that's happening in our root. And so our root chakra too is something we're going to feel physically. So that's also why we're tired, and also why we might feel a bit drained or even more emotional. So really recognizing if that's the case for you. And there are a few things that you can do to kind of help replenish your energy. And that is to call your energy back to yourself, and any energy that's not your own, you tell it has to go back to source. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a connection of love with people, or a connection with people. It just means if it really isn't yours, like, you don't have to take on the sorrow of the planet. You can recognize that that's happening and still allow yourself to feel love, because there is light here too. There's love here too. It's not just strife. Just like there's always a part of yourself that's fully connected to spirit and remembers 100%, that never forgets. And there's a part of your being that's 100% healthy all the time, even if your body even has a disease. There's still a part of your body that's 100% healthy. It's the same thing here with the earth. There's still parts of the planet, even though you might be aware of the strife or the war, there's still parts of the planet that are experiencing peace. And so we all need reprieve sometimes from the heaviness of these experiences. So allowing yourself to have that reprieve. Because if we can hold, it's about frequency. If we can hold a frequency within our own being of love and light and of peace, and not of worry and stress, it's a different frequency. So holding that energy and frequency within your own being as much as you can each day of love and peace, and seeing the planet balanced and harmonized, that actually helps more than anything. It actually helps transmute that warlike and violent energy that's happening on the planet. So that's something you can actively do, and just know that that is something that we're all participating in collectively in our root. Um, and so that is the red. And then the blue is, there's more to the red, but we'll go into that further later. But the blue energy of the wings of this dragon has everything to do with your throat chakra. And your throat chakra is such a vital piece in this new earth, within this fifth dimensional experience. We're all so repairing this. And so we're collectively sharing this as a whole, as humanity in general. This space is where we are seen. Now, you might think this is where we're seen with our eyes, and it's not. How we're seen is with our throats. And what I mean by seen is like we're actually seen individually. If I never said a word to you, all I would be to you is a mirror of however you saw me, however you saw blondes, or however you saw 5'2" blondes, or however you saw white blondes. Like whatever that means to you, that's who I am. Until I open up my mouth and I begin speaking. Now, when I begin speaking is when I actually start sharing with you how I feel and what I think. And now you have an open window to more of who I truly am, my being. And that's our throat chakra. Now, our throat chakra collectively has been highly manipulated. We use the space of our voices to manipulate reality. And that's partly why the word narcissism is such a big word in our culture right now, because it's coming into our awareness of the manipulation of our throat chakras, of gaslighting. That's what gaslighting is. Even though I might be behaving mean to you, but I'm saying to you, hey, no, I love you. So we have this contrasting ideology, and we begin to believe the words and not the behavior. We see that manipulation in every system in our society, in Western culture, in schools, in the medical model, in pharmacy, in politics. This manipulation of our throat chakras, not aligning it with truth, but using this as a manipulative tool to get what it is that we want. So using this as a manipulative tool to actually get our basic needs met, because we feel deep within us this belief system that we have to fight for our needs. But in reality, all of our needs are met and everything is possible. So this dragon is reminding us of our true nature, of really allowing ourselves to be who we are and aligning our throats with the frequency of truth. And that is a very sacred space, and aligning that with light. So in a way, this space would never harm another being, myself or anybody else. It would allow for somebody else to have their own experience separate from myself, and allow for it, even if I don't agree with it. Now, we're very immature in this space. We have a hard time with people that feel and think differently than us. And that's just an immaturity. We think then we have to fight or compete for differing views. And we don't. We're allowed to be different, and we're allowed to see things differently. But then there's no fight, and then we don't know what to do. And then we have to sit in the discomfort of whatever that is. And for some, that discomfort of sitting in, hey, we think differently, is rejection, right? Like, does that mean that I'm not lovable if I see things differently? Does that mean that you're not going to like me? Because in our culture and in our society, love has equated to thinking the same or feeling the same. That means you love me if you feel the same way or you think the same way. And that, again, is a very young way of looking at things. So it's about learning how to mature in the space of our throats and aligning it with how we really think and see and feel. and only speaking that. I mean, you could dedicate the rest of your life to just speaking truth, and your whole life would change tremendously. Your relationships would change. But first, we do have to notice how we feel in the first place, and then we get back to the root chakra. Because the root chakra holds the sacral chakra. It houses it. Just like the third eye and the crown houses the crown holds the third chakra, just like the root and the sacral. So it's one and the same. So how do you feel? Are you allowing yourself to have your own experience? Are you allowing yourself to have your own thoughts and feelings separate from anything, separate from your parents, separate from social influence? Like, how do you really feel and think about things? And so it's this tongue-in-cheek situation where you need both. To speak your truth, you need to know what your truth is, right? So once you actually embody that, you know who you are, you allow for that freely, you create an environment of safety, and then you begin to speak with integrity, clear, aligned with your heart, with your light, and it doesn't hurt others or yourself. Then you actually begin to soar. Then you are actually embodying closer to this dragon energy that we started talking about earlier on. This dragon energy with these blue wings, and the wings are blue for a reason, symbolically. This is what gives you the flight. Because now we can actually use this, our throats, our expression, our creativity. Now we actually, when we align it with our consciousness, now we're talking. Now it actually has power. And now we can actually move matter and move reality and start shifting things exponentially at a very fast rate when we align those few things. Because now we can really create anything is possible. So what is it that you want? Is it, and as long as, I would hope that it's aligned with love, right? And so what do we want to create? Let's using our imagination, because anything and everything is possible. So that's what this is about. Really tapping into this energy. And this is the energy that starts opening doors to the potentials. So that's partly what this door is. And this door is, and these people coming out of the door is symbolic of many things. But one of the things is opening the doors to all these potentials for you personally. So what doors do you want to open? Like, what is coming when you align your throat to your heart and to where you're allowed to experience yourself? What do you want to create? Literally, the world is your oyster. So in another way, this painting again is reiterating the world is your oyster. What do you want? Just like the book one. What do you want? Anything and everything is possible. So be still. Take care of your needs. Align with your truth. And then whatever that is for you is exactly what it's meant to be. If we could all get into this frequency and all of us could be aligned with our true purpose, whether it's writing or whether it's painting or whether it's leading or whether it's teaching or whatever it is in your own unique way, because your heart's going to lead the way here. These doors start opening, and the birth of these things really becomes possible. And that's what's here right now. And so that's partly why the dragon's looking right at these people and is communicating with these potentials. And that's almost like this embedded weaving that's happening as you cultivate this truth for yourself. You're actually weaving into the future and in the past. So you're changing the past and the future as you are still in the present moment. It's powerful, very creative magic. And it's communicating to other parts of the universe. So in some ways, I want to open you up to the possibility or the idea of communicating with other sentient beings that has gone through the process of moving from density, of eating things. Like, there's beings out there that they don't eat physical things like we do. In some ways, it's very dense to do that, to kill things and have to eat it. And then we have waste that we have to push out. In some ways, that's a very dense physical form kind of processing. Not better or worse, just a way different process. And as we ascend and as we get higher and higher in our consciousness, the need for that becomes less and less. We have yogis on the planet right now that can go without eating for like weeks and weeks, because they know how to tap into universal energy and they can rejuvenate their cells without the food. So that's just kind of trippy, but that is truth if you're looking for evidence of what I'm speaking. So opening the door to other sentient beings and really allowing yourself to communicate with your full line of ancestors, like the stars in our DNA, the star DNA that we have. And, all of these other potential beings that are out there. Because if that's true, it can help you kind of rise above the humanity of this experience, or the hardships sometimes of these experiences. So this rebirth energy that's happening this month is about that. It's about allowing for these potentials and begin communing with them. Like, what is it that you want to create consciously? And staying open too, like being flexible in that space. And I just mean trying not to be so rigid with, it's like, hey, I want to make $1 million from this specific vein, where the universe is ready to give you $1,000, and it could just be in a lot of different forms, right? So really staying open and being flexible. Or like saying you want a mate, right? But you're like, they have to be 6'4", because the mate or the perfect person for you might be 5'8", right? So being very flexible when it comes to, and some of those things are very silly because we're so in our heads still as humans, but just as a reminder to stay flexible and to trust that all your needs are met, and that is coming for you, whatever your needs are, whatever it is that you're consciously manifesting for yourself. That's the power of this throat. And last but not least, the activation of our DNA. There's a lot of shifts that are happening on the planet right now. There's a lot of openings. Like I said, the volcanoes and the earthquakes in Iceland in the north. We knew there was going to be a lot of shifting that's happening on the planet in the north. And now it's happening because it's culminating because of 2023. We're moving into 2024, which is going to be the precipice of this. So the top of the, we're here, we're almost here, and now it's going to be easier coming back down. So we're now at this precipice. And so this energy that's coming in, so though it might seem destructive, volcanoes are not, they are destructive, but just like the dragon energy, they're also very creative and allow for rebirth and growth. Right? In beautiful ways. Look at Hawaii, for goodness sakes, right? Like the flowers that come from volcanic ash and soot. They're so full of minerals and enzymes that it can create lush greenery and flowers that are beyond our imagination. So again, that allowing for that, the energy right now that's from these shifts that's even happening in the north. There's that destructive energy to it too. There's that density, but then there's also on the other side of it at the same time, this new energy from the earth, with it new information. So with that, it's going to be inspiration, new ideas for you. Things are going to start igniting, or it's like you feel like you've been at a brick wall or a wall, and all of a sudden a door is going to start appearing so you can actually open it and move through that wall. That's the kind of energy that's happening at the same time that we're moving into as we get closer to December. So lots of potentials, but have fun, the joy, the creativity, follow the joy that's a continuation theme of just being human. That's definitely your compass. And let me know what you guys think, but that little bit of that Pokemon ball, it is, you are the center of this, and you're kind of integrating all of it's like the medicine wheel in shamanism. And it is your, spirituality, it's your emotions, it's your psyche and mental health, and your physical body. Your psyche and mental health, your physical body, your physical health, your creativity, your sexuality, and your emotional being. And then you have the outside ring, which is you and being a part of community. So what holds it together for you? So you have the center of the wheel, which is you, and then you have the outside ring, which is your community. And you integrate all of your parts so you can affect and impact community in a great way. So you have to, this wheel, there's Pokemon balls within this light language. This is the light language itself. So you look at, where are your sexual and creative needs? Where are those at? What about your physical needs? Is there parts of your body that are out of balance that are screaming at you? Your mental, where your belief system, does it allow for this flexibility and growth, or these unknown or into new identities? This is where having issues with change come into play. Emotionally, do you allow for your emotions to flow? Right? In this, as a human being, we're integrating all of these parts to light and love. And as you do that, you're able to just embody light language and do what you came here to do. I mean, that's why we're here, right? So we can live out our joy and actively create whatever it is that we want. The great I am. So lots going on, like I said, for the month of November. Thank you so much to everyone that has been on board. There's many of you guys that have been on board now for a year. It's like a year anniversary this month. So happy anniversary. And very excited to see what the next year brings. And I just truly appreciate your support and subscribing to this Quantum Power Deck, because it does, it's symbiotic. I love doing it, and I hope you get a lot out of it too. But I'd love to hear some feedback. If there's something that you'd like to see more of, I'm definitely open to that. So please just throw me a line. But with that, sending you so much love, and I look forward to talking to you in December. Namaste.